All right, Eldon back here with another episode of Will It Live Again. Let's get rolling on something here. I'm going to do a little minor repair. No, it's not minor. It's a pretty major repair on something, but I'll flip the camera around here and show you what's going on. It was kind of a different situation. All right, so a while back I picked up this really cool little Coleman number 9. It's a very early model of Coleman stove. I've got the guts of it in the tank all restored and ready to go back together, but this thing is interesting. In its life, it was folded up and stored standing on this end, I'm pretty sure, and probably in a garage where it got a bunch of dirt in it. And we have a rust out problem right here. And as you can see the light through it. And I've been toying with how in the world am I going to fix this in a way that makes any kind of sense. And I had decided I was just going to cut this piece out and weld it in just like I would a patch panel on a car body. I'm like, gosh, I don't want to do that because all the finessing stuff you have to do with the welding and stuff, too much hassle. And then it dawned on me, I know what to do. So you see each of these little dots along here? Those are spot welds, where this end panel is spot welded into the side panels. And this right here, this top edge is just rolled over and tucked under there. I'm like, I can unroll that. I can drill out these spot welds, and then I've got myself a pattern. Once I get this piece out, I can draw that pattern onto another piece of metal, and I can come back here and spot weld this thing back into place on all those spot welds, and then take it and roll it over here, and voila, I will have a nice new finished end on this thing. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how I do that. And a lot of it, because of the way I have to film things here, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do and then show you when it's done. So let's get ready to start here. All right, you can see I've got that started unrolling there. Helps if you have the right kind of tool. This pair of pliers here actually grabs it and rolls it back off there pretty nicely. I'm sure there's other ways you could do it, but this is, fortunately I had this tool sitting in my arsenal and it makes it easy. Easy enough I'm even doing it one-handed. How's that? Okay. Alright, so that's got it loose from that rod right there. Now my next thing is going to be to come in here, and I'm going to use a pretty small drill bit. I think I'll do a 1/4 inch one-ish, and drill each of these spot welds out. And I'll go at least through this first layer of metal. I don't have to go through the second one necessarily, but I might. It just whatever it takes to free the two pieces from each other. That one is definitely a two-handed job, so I'll come back when I get some progress there. Alrighty. So I've got those spot welds drilled out. There. That's what comes loose all by itself. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you go through the second layer. Some places I had to because the welds weren't breaking completely free. But if you get through the first layer and the pieces come apart, then you can stop drilling. All right, so we've got her freed up now. We'll just take this out, and there we go. So not only do we have it out, now we have our template. So in order to use this correctly for a template, I'm going to take it and flatten it completely out. I'm going to roll this edge back around and flatten it. I'm going to take out all these creases and stuff in it, so that I've got a good legitimate picture of what the new piece of metal needs to look like. And that's going to include this oblong hole here, these two slots right here, and there's a notch right there that's going to have to happen. Oh yeah, and this right here. So I'm going to have to find a way to cut those into the new piece of metal. Not super difficult, but I just gotta figure out how to do it. So all right, I'm gonna come back, get this flattened out, and get myself a piece of metal up here to work with, and we'll show you how to do it. Alrighty, here's my extra sheet metal. So there we go. Got the the old panel right here, and this is a donor stove that I've parted out for lots of different things, but it's still got some good sheet metal on it. I actually made the wind wings for another stove out of the lid of it, and put it to lots of good use. Yeah, somebody might be crying if you think that's a bad deal. I've got another one for you. All right, so what I'm going to do now is trace around that piece of metal on there and get myself marked up so that I know exactly where to put it. So I'm going to set this up on a tripod so I can actually have you watch me as I do the marking part. There we go, handy dandy technology. All right, so I'm going to get this laid out here where I want it, and then I've got a scratch awl, and I'm just simply going to scratch an outline of this thing into the paint of the metal on the bottom of this stove. All right, when I get to right here, I've got some of the shape of it's rusted off there, so I don't want to mark that, but I am going to come down here, mark the angle, and follow down this side, making sure I get that notch marked out right there. Okay, now it's critical. I don't want this thing to move while I'm doing this, because these holes and stuff, I need to make sure I put them in the right spot. I mean, stuff seems kind of obvious, but I'm saying it just because. Okay, so this piece of metal right here has a corner cut off of it, so I'm going to go to about right there, and then I'm going to get myself a straight edge and carry that on out to the corner, because I'm quite sure that it's supposed to be square. All right, there's my outline. Let's get holes marked out where they've got to be. All right, so that hole, that one, this notch, and this notch. Everything else is supposed to be solid. So what I'm going to do to try to compensate for this rusted off metal here is I'm going to flip my pattern around and match it up with the other one. That's going to let me fix two problems. So I'll carry this on out to the corner, make the corner down there. This will also give me a right angle corner here to make that where that other end was kind of, I don't know if you can see that right there dives off really bad on that corner. So all right, put them side by side all the way around. Notch, notch, hole, hole, hole. All right, I think that's what I needed. Now, don't throw this pattern away until you finish the job. You may need it for something, so hang on to it. And then the next thing I'll do is I got to figure out how to cut this out. You could do it with tin snips. I'm probably going to use my cutoff wheel on my grinder to do it. I'll come back after I get it cut out and show you what my piece looks like. I'll probably use the grinder to put these notches in it. Excuse me. Please forgive me. All right. I'll use the grinder to put the notches in the outside edge, but I'm not going to be able to do these holes with the grinder. I might be able to get them started with it. I don't know. But I may also, I don't know. I don't know if I've got a drill bit that big. But I might look at doing something to get that cut out so I get a nice rounded hole there. I've had a die grinder with a burr on it that I could do that, but I just broke it the other day, so I don't know what I've got to work with. But anyway, let's get the piece cut out and then we'll be back. All right, slight change of plans there. I was able to get this thing cut out that far just with the tin snips. I actually cut it out of the bottom of the scrap metal there with the tin snips, cut it big, and then trimmed all those extra pieces off of it. Was able to cut these notches to where they will work. I mean, rough them in. I'm going to take a file to them to clean them up a little bit. All that left is these two little slots here and that hole. So I think to get this, based on being able to use the tin snips, I'm going to drill myself a big hole in there and start working out from that hole and see where that gets me. So I'll get to that point and we'll see what happens. Okay, made some good progress there. So I came in here and I drilled myself 2 half-inch holes in there and then was able to connect them and get that cut out with my tin snips. Next I came over here on these little ones and I drilled a hole on each end that was the width of the hole, and then with my Dremel tool was able to connect those holes together using that little deal right there. So I'll get this one finished up, and then after that we'll be down to finessing all of this stuff together and getting it to where it will work. Yeah, I'm going to have to use some files. First I'll take it and hammer it back flat again, then files and sandpaper, and get all these edges and holes to where we want them to be. Well, there we go. That's turned out pretty good. I got slots. I think I got, anyway, just got everything dressed up with the grinder on my Dremel. Got the sides of this straightened out and made to where it looks right. Anyway, looks pretty good. Let's see here how that turned out. Yeah, I can live with that. Everything seems to line up pretty good. So I think we're in business. There we have our new piece created. Now what we got to do is, first thing I'm going to do is take it and I'm going to sand all of that old green paint and the rust off of it on both sides so that I've got a fresh piece of metal that we're working with. And then it'll be time to start getting the body of the stove ready to put this back in. So yeah, pretty happy with that. That turned out pretty good. Okay, got everything straightened out on my patch piece there. So now back on the case itself, we needed to get here and flatten all of these back out. So I've done that with a combination of a hammer and a dolly and worked my way all the way around here. So now that I can put my patch in and it fits in there nicely. Let's see here. So there we go. Now once I've got the paint cleaned off of here, we'll just tack weld each of those in position and then come here and roll that edge over that wire framework there. So next thing I guess is to get the paint off and get it ready to go. Well, there we go. Got our pieces all cleaned up. Paint came right off of there with my wire wheel. That was nice. And wire wheeled the bar here to get the rust off of it. Now we got it clamped in place, ready to start welding. So each one of these little holes that we've drilled in there, I'm gonna lightly tack weld it inside of that to fill it up. And then we'll have to come back and grind it off a little bit to get it perfectly smooth, but that should do it for us. So I'll come back once I've got it welded and maybe ground. All right. Okay, this seems to be doing the trick for bending that over by using the pliers against the bar itself. It's pushing the bar up back into place every time as we roll it over a little bit farther. So when you do this, you don't want to go all the way over in one bend. You want to go a series of partial bends and work your way around, or the whole length of the deal there. Because if you go too much, you end up stretching this sheet metal beyond what you can get it to go back to its original shape and conform to where you want it. And this is about as far, I think, as I'm going to be able to get it with the pliers at that point. You see that's starting to come along there and look pretty good. So now I'm going to pull out the hammer and the dolly and the dolly under here and be hammering on it down this way until I get it where I want it. And eventually I'm going to have it rolled. Originally it was tucked clear back under here, and I may end up finishing that back up with the pliers again too. I don't know, but you can't do that on camera, so you'll get the picture of what I'm talking about here, hopefully. Alrighty, yeah, it's working out really nice. Nice straight line along there. Got it tucked back up under there the way that it's supposed to be. And I went around with my hammer and dolly and kind of tightened up all the seam along there, because someplace it was flexed out a little bit, but tightened all that up. So that looks much better. So the process of bending that lip up had created a little bit of a bow here. So I just took a few taps of the hammer along here with the dolly on the back side of the bar, and that came right out. So I'm very happy with this. That's looking like it probably did when it was newish, minus the slightly amateur process of doing it. But anyway, came out really good. I'm excited about that. The only thing I got left to do then is grind the welds down. I'll do that probably with a flap wheel, I'm guessing, to be able to get it the way I want it. I don't want grinder marks left in it. I really don't want sanding marks left in it, because that won't look original. But anyway, we'll carry on to that point and be back when I figure that out. Well, there we go. I'm very pleased with the way that turned out. From having that rusty old hole in it. And here, to our now fresh, essentially rust-free new stove side. I'm happy with that. Those welds turned out pretty good. Probably right before I spray them, I'll wipe a little bit of glazing putty onto them, which will help hide any grinding marks that there might still be, like you can kind of see right in there. But anyway, that definitely good replacement for what we had. No more daylight, you can see through it. Sweet. All right, well, there you go. I'll wrap this up. Another one of these little how-to videos that I like to do here. Lots of guys know more about restoring these things than I do, and the guts and stuff, but I think a lot of guys don't have the experience with doing body work on cars and stuff, which gives me the tools and the mindset necessary to figure this out. So that was definitely a better solution than my original thought, which was going to be to cut this out here and try to weld in a new section of metal. I think this just replacing the whole thing makes a whole lot more sense and is frankly a lot easier. So there you go. I hope you guys having fun watching this stuff and maybe learn something. Maybe the only thing you learn is that I'm crazy. Anyway, have a fun day. Enjoy what you're doing.